Let's look at how to install PMDi's QTCreator development environment. First, make sure you've downloaded the relevant files. That includes Oracle VirtualBox, the Polaris server user.zip, and the relevant virtual machine files. Next, open virtual machine. Then add the configured machine that should be located shown here on my desktop. Next, we'll start the virtual machine. Once the machine loads, open up the file structure. That's at the top left folder icon. Open Home Polaris. Now we're going to drag and drop the Polaris server user zip file onto the virtual machine. Next, extract Polaris server user into the same directory we copied it into. Now open QTCreator. Open the project that we just extracted. You can find it in Home Polaris server user dev. Now we're going to configure the project. Just click the Configure Project button. Now the project's been opened. Included in the project are our header files for our APIs, as well as a process script. So here are the header files. We have GCI, PSU, SPU, MCI. These can be explored in our documentation. MCI is for motion, and PSU is for doing things such as setting digital outputs or reading digital inputs, as well as many other things. Here I'm going to demonstrate a process by setting a digital output. I copy that API, and I'm going to paste it into one of the processes that have been set up in the GUIscripts.c file. Now I'm going to declare the relevant arguments for the API function. Here I'm going to make mistakes on purpose so that you can see how the debug process works with QTCreator. Now I'm going to configure the system to upload directly to the controller. You should enter the default value for the controller, which is 192.168.99.75. My controller has a different IP, so I'm going to use that, but you should use the IP ending with 0.75. Now I'm going to build the project. This pushes the process that's written here onto the controller, but first it needs to go through the build process, so you have some build errors. We'll work through them here. Still have some build errors. That should do it. Okay, so it's building now, and we have this error. This error can be fixed by going to the project window and adding a controller kit in the run mode. Now when I push on to the controller, I'm going to get this error. This means that it can't send this to the controller because Polaris server is already running. So the next step is to open Motion Tools and stop Polaris server. So now I should be able to push onto the controller, but first I'm going to add some text output to my function so that we can see it in the application output, so we can verify that the process is working properly. Okay, now that I have some text, I'm going to push onto the controller. This time you'll see that it runs without running into any build errors. When I open Motion Tools, you'll see Polaris server will start on its own. So we just need to be patient and wait for it to load. There we go. So now I'll test the process by pressing Function C. And you see that the output in that print statement printed to the application output window. Now I'll show you this handy feature called saving the machine state. So if we do that, the next time we open up virtual machine, it will automatically open in the state that we saved at. I'll demonstrate this here. So now the configuration's already complete. We don't need to worry about that anymore. We can just jump directly into our process and continue where we left off. Now let's look at the breakpoint and code stepping features. So here I've written a simple script. It's just a for loop with some variables changing value. And here I'm going to set a breakpoint. And now when I run this process from Motion Tools, it's going to stop at the breakpoint and allow me to step into the process itself. So I'll hit Function D, and it's going to jump right in. So there we are, it stopped at the breakpoint. Now using these step into functionality, I can go through the code line by line. And over here at the top right, I can monitor the values. So since they're declared, they have garbage values, but as I step through the code, you can see the values change to how you'd expect them to. This is very handy for writing a process. You can debug problems that might arise, and you can also see return values of our API functions. That's how you use QT Creator.